of hypertension is intake of salt. Intake of salt. So we have to make a very, and it is going to be at a personal level, at a national level, the industries, the foods that are imported.
Don't we get a lot of that in canned goods?
In canned goods, that's what I'm talking about, industry. There has to be a control. Salt is used as a preservative.
Yes.
So everything that is not fresh has a little bit more salt than you would need. So the makers, the industrial people, they put more salt, not because of its dietary importance, but because it will increase their shelf life. So once you're not eating fresh, if you're eating anything tinned or whatever preserved, you're getting more salt and you have to take it into consideration. And we call those ones hidden salt, hidden sources of salt. Because when one is cooking, you're saying, I'm putting a pinch, but we have to all make a move to use as little salt as possible. As little salt as possible.
So should the watchword then be eat more fresh foods?
Fresh. Eat fresh. Because it helps us to eat vegetables, it helps us to eat fruits, and that I counted lack of vegetable and fresh
fruits as one
of the risk factors. One of the risk factors.
So we've talked about obesity being one of the risk factors. Can you help with that? There's one beautiful formula you have for calculating the body mass index. Let's give that to people so that
we'll start with even a simpler one. A simpler one is just a tailor's tape. Put it around your navel, your belly button. If you're a man, it should not be, your abdominal girth should not be more than 40.
For every man?
Yes, inches.
No matter how tall he is, no matter how short he is?
It's generic. And then for women, 36. So once your abdominal girth is, at that level, is more than 36, you're slightly more than you should be. Then coming to the calculation, which takes care of our height and our weight, as you have mentioned, the weight in kilometers.
Weight in
kilograms. In kilograms, yes. The over height in meters. So I'm 1.75 kg, and then I'm 1.75. So you square 1.75. 1.75 times 1.75 is the lower number, then 75 over what I can get. When we do that calculation and it comes to between 20 and 25, you're all right. If you're less than 20, you're underweight. If you're more than 25, you're overweight. If you're 30, you're obese.
30 obese?
Yes.
Okay, that's good enough. It appears we're having a call. Hello. Hello. Buhari. Could we have your contribution? Apparently, we've lost him. Let's give him another chance to come on. Now, with this kind of thing, it looks as if a heart attack is...
It's a build-up. It's a gradual build-up that could take 30 years to
30 years.
To occur.
But it doesn't seem to show itself.
Yes.
Very powerfully, let me put it that way. As in, a person doesn't get up and say, oh, wow, I'm in trouble, let me go to the hospital, or let me be taken to the hospital. It seems to happen suddenly to the sufferers.
Yes, that is why we need a prevention and comprehensive and general checkup from the age of 40.
Okay, so what do we start doing from the age of 40?
Those modifiable risk factors I mentioned, when making sure we are not hypertensive, diabetic, our cholesterol is good, our body size is good, and then there are tests to show the early part of it.
Okay.
The early part of it. You know that I mentioned that the size of the artery will be blocked to 25%, 50%, and 75 is when it starts showing its ugly face. So, but if we have also known that if one is older, if one is a male, if one has hypertension or diabetic, those plaques, those obstructions are likely to be there. And we're supposed to, keep checking ourselves to be sure. And then one other prevention is to treat those diseases very, very seriously. So if you have hypertension, that is why it is modifiable. If there is hypertension, we treat it, and then that lowers the risk.
Okay, we're coming back to that. Yemi is calling. Hello, Yemi.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Yemi. Your question. Go on. We have lost Yemi as well, and that's a pity. So I think you had something to ask. Now, yes, you were talking about specific tests.
Yes.
Do they actually go for these tests? It's supposed to be one of the tests that people do, like women do a mammogram.
Yes.
You want to go check your arteries?
First, yes. You know, we can do that. We can do that. Well, first and foremost, I mentioned the fact that the build-up shows up when the heart complains during certain amount of exertion.
Yes.
So an exercise stress test, you know, there is a stress test you do using a bicycle or using a treadmill, and then you're riding the bike, and an ECG is on your chest. If your heart is stressed to such a point, it can show that there is a likely blockage.
Don't you think a lot of us, we fail that stress test with this sedentary lifestyle?
Yes.
Even if there is no indication of heart failure.
We call that deconditioning. Deconditioning may not allow you to bike for 10 minutes, but when we are looking at the effect of the blockage, when there is a blockage and you do exercise, the heart will start showing things that we can pick up with an extra test on your chest called an ECG or EKG.
Okay, so it's possible to remove the deconditioning factor
yes,
and find out what's really going on there.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Doctor, I'll have to stop you there. I know you have loads and loads of stuff. We'll have you back again some other time.
Thank you so much.
But for now, we're out of time.
Thank
you so much for coming.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for listening in there, and have a nice day. I am Mary Alale Yusuf.